Good afternoon. Today I want to continue with talking about our vocabulary of reverence with which we surround the holy sacrifice of the Mass. And today I will talk about the church, the divisions of the church, the main focal points in the church, and the proper language we use, and then the Mass vestments. But before I want to do that, I want to let you know of some good news here. We've received word from the bishop that we can increase the number at Mass up to 250, provided we maintain the proper 6-foot distancing and sanitation. So now don't just all come running, because we're not going to go there immediately. I don't know if we can get actually 250 here in maintaining those conditions. We're going to move there this weekend. We're going to try 50 rather than 25. And then we'll see how that works this weekend, and then we'll move forward from there. But it pretty much gives us the flexibility we need to start opening up completely. And we will keep you informed of further developments in that regard. And now let me go ahead with the, this weekend, those of you who can come this weekend, we will let you know if you can come this weekend. Continuing now then, first the church, our vocabulary of reverence. In a Protestant church, people speak of the sanctuary, and it's this whole area here they're referred to as the sanctuary typically. And that's because there's no real division, okay? They don't have the sacrifice of the Mass, they don't have the tabernacle, they don't have the priesthood. That's not, and I say this because that language is crept in among Catholics, and it's not actually proper. The Catholic Church is divided, the interior is divided in two sections. The congregation is in the nave of the church. Okay, so everything out there is the nave. Okay? It comes from a Latin word meaning ship, like Noah's Ark, in which alone those were saved. Okay? And so the nave actually represents this world. Now, where I am standing up here, which people often refer to as the altar, well, the altar is right there. It's a very concrete object. This is referred to as the sanctuary. There would be a more even technical word, even the presbyterium, the priest's place. The place for the priests and those who are helping the priests. Okay? Now, this represents heaven and Christ united now with his church and present among us. Okay? And so, in the Mass, heaven becomes present. The meeting place between heaven and earth is the altar. So that's the basic structure of the church. In the sanctuary or presbyterium now, there are 3 focal points. They call it the presider's chair or the priest's chair, but there can be multiple priests, so it's the priest is actually the principal celebrant of the Mass. The presider's chair, the ambo, so place in the Catholic Church from which we read the Word of God is properly called not the pulpit, but the ambo. Okay? And then, of course, the altar. Okay? And the priest shares in the threefold office of Jesus Christ, who was king, prophet, and priest. Right? So the presider's chair represents Christ's royal authority to govern the people of God. The ambo is where Christ, who is not just a prophet, but more than a prophet, since he's the very Word of God in person, is a place from where then the Word of God is proclaimed. And the altar, upon which Christ offers himself, his body and blood in sacrifice, through the ministry, through the hands of the priest. It's no longer the bloody sacrifice of Calvary, which was offered once for all, but the representation of that sacrifice in an unbloody manner, where the separation of the body and blood is shown and represented, but since he lives, it does not take place in reality. Death of Christ is shown so as to be offered anew to the Father. Then, of course, we have the tabernacle, the place of the abiding presence of Jesus Christ. So those are the main focal points of the church. Now, I want to go to talk about the vestments now. And now here where I have my vestments laid out, ready to put on, is called, it's a credence table. Actually, we kind of have three credence tables up here. So the tables used to provide the utensils, we might say, of the Mass, the sacred utensils that are type before they are called credence tables. Okay? And so one at a time, I'm going to put on the vestments, I'm going to give it its proper name, and do my best to quickly translate the prayer that I'm accustomed to saying in Latin. Because putting on it's kind of like, there are a couple things with the vestment. It's kind of like a knight putting on his armor. And St. Paul talks about clothing yourselves with all the armor of God in his letter to the Ephesians. But now actually, first I'm wearing the cassock, which is the traditional street clothing of the priest, the cassock. And the black, see now, the street clothing is black. It's the color of death, reminding both the priest and others that we must die to this world in order to live for Christ. Okay? And then the vestments with the white and then with the colors all in some way represent then the new life we put on in Christ. The life of the resurrection. And the priest wearing the vestments, especially at Mass, shows that he's not just there as a private person, just a person who has to be chosen to lead the community. He's there representing Christ, who sits at the right hand of the Father in glory now. Christ is no longer nailed to the cross, but is in glory. So this first piece of cloth is called the amice, and it's actually a symbolic helmet. So the priest, first of all, when he puts on the amice, he first touches it to his head, okay? And put on my head, O Lord, the helmet of salvation to fight off all the attacks of the devil. The practical purpose of the amice is that it covers the collar of the priest's street clothes. Then is the al, the Latin word meaning white. Whiten me, O God, and cleanse my heart. that whitened in the blood of the Lamb. What does that first? I may enjoy eternal joy. And then the cincture. Gird me, O Lord, the cincture of purity, and extinguish in me all the disorder of lust, that the virtue of chastity may abide in me. In the stall, which is particularly a sort of distinct sign of the priestly office, clothe me, O Lord, with the stall of immortality, that I lost in the sin of the first parent. And although I approach unworthily to your altar, may I merit eternal life. And then, now these other vestments I might wear outside of Mass, including the stall. But the chasuble is used for the celebration of Mass, for that time when the priest will offer sacrifice in the name of Christ. The Lord, who said that my yoke is easy and my burden light. How does that prayer go? And I forgot the rest of the prayer. That's the problem with translating on the fly, is that I forget the Latin. But so then the priest, completely clothed and vested. And so that's, in summary then, we have, again, the nave of the church, the sanctuary or presbyterium, the priest chair, the ambo, the altar, priest tables, the vestments, then what you see readily here, the alb, the cincture, stall, and the chasuble. God bless you all.